Hey there everyone, this is Rashmi and welcome to my channel Blissed Out, and in this channel I'll talk about my spiritual experience, and in my transformational journey I learned that my work here is to help you expand your horizon. In this particular video I'll be talking about my first spiritual experience which I had about 2.5 years ago in 2017, and at the first part of the video I'll be talking about the kind of situation I was in, which was like a setup by the universe leading to that triggering moment, and then I'll talk about the actual supernatural blissful experience I had. And I must tell you this, that I like this moment to be on a platform and to share about my experience has been like my dream. It's so coveted for me because right now I'm in that phase of spiritual journey where things completely fall apart, or no matter how many times you try to work on something, universe will be completely against you. And just to give you a brief idea, this is like my 60th take just in this topic, so I hope this video finally goes up. Anyway, so if you have ever heard about spiritual awakening, or if you have experienced it, this is gonna be a very entertaining story for you. And for those who have never heard about it, I'd say just keep an open mind, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. So let's get started. So the kind of situation I was in, I was like in a deep ball of stress, which was for 4 or 5 months prior to my awakening. For most people, they are in depression, or they're in some kind of financial crisis or some other kind of crisis. And what awakening, or that moment of awakening, does is like it completely contradicts you. The perspective you have about it completely contradicts you, and you feel like very new and different person. It's done in such a way so that you don't miss it. It's so real that you cannot not believe in it. So what happened after the awakening is my perspective drastically changed. I don't even remember the kind of person I used to be prior to my awakening. In 2.5 years, like I've gone through so much of changes and so many other experiences. So let's talk about the situation I was in. After a year passed and look back, it looks like I can connect the dots and I see that it's a very good setup. Like the universe was completely setting me up for me to like think in some other way, and it finally contradicts me and show that there is more to the world. So the kind of setup I was in was like carefully planned out, and the universe was like leading me up to that moment. And then I realized like there are no accidents, everything happens for a reason. There were like many things that were contributing to my stress back then, but one of them was that I was like away from my home, studying for an exam which was like so demanding and crushing, and I had only one other friend who was also a study partner. Now, I had to let go of that only friend, and I was not ready for it. There were discussions, there was drama, there was crying, begging, and finally, I think I had finally bidden goodbye on the day just before my awakening. I mean, it was not a brave decision. I just had to reluctantly let go. I was feeling so scared and lonely in that huge new place. So I should tell you, like, before I had my any experience, I had no idea about what spiritual awakening means. I had no idea about chakras, and I didn't even know anybody who was like associated with spirituality. So it was like very new for me. So as soon as I had this experience, I had like this overwhelming understanding, like what I just experienced was like the reality completely changed, and I had like severe anxiety for the next 6 to 7 months after that. This is the evening before my awakening, so I just bid like goodbye to my only friend. I went to my room and I think I was like doing my laundry, and what happened was I was just contemplating like how my life ever came to that, and I was like so lonely, so scared, and I had also problems with one of the girl in that flat, and everything was a mess. So I was like, you know what, this is it. I mean, I cannot keep living my life like this. I have to take a decision. And it was not one of those moments where I needed a pep talk. And then I was like, you know what, I think people are gonna come and go. I cannot control them, and there'll be times when I stand in front of a person and that person could be toxic, saying mean things to me, and I feel humiliated in front of them, but I cannot control them. It doesn't matter if they're toxic, feel right, they are saying it. And whatever they say to me, the mean negative things, it's gonna seep into my memory. It's gonna keep haunting me for the rest of my life, unless if I make my closure at some point in the future, which normally doesn't happen. We have a lot of loose ends, and I was like tired of all of that, and I felt like, you know what, this is it. It's okay, I guess, to be humiliated. Now this is something that I learned myself, like, and I think this is like a quote which everyone should learn it or should live by. I think it is okay to be humiliated. It's okay if that person comes in front of me and he says mean things to me and I cannot protect myself. And there will be very few times I can come back with a revenge. And I'm not good even with comebacks. I can never have my closure that way. But I think it's okay to be humiliated. It's okay not to be brave. It's okay if you cannot protect yourself the way you think you should protect yourself. It's okay to let go. But what I can do is, when I feel humiliated, I'm not gonna run away from myself. I'm gonna be there for myself. By that I mean, like, if the person in front of me is like humiliating me, and it's gonna feel mean, I cannot lie, it's gonna hurt me. And what I mean is, like, after that moment passes and I go to my room or any place, and when I can self-introspect, reflect on what just happened, I'm not gonna indulge in self-loathing. It was not in my control. It's okay. I don't know what I just said to myself, but it felt like amazing. It felt reliable, substantial, like it felt correct. It felt so good. Then I felt like, you know what? This evening, I'm just gonna celebrate. I'm gonna take the rest of the moment to just, like, relax and watch movies or series, because they are like my stress relievers, and I'll just spend the evening doing something like that. So this is still the evening before my awakening. Also, I should tell you that I was like triggered through a picture of my twin flame. Now what happens is, like, I was like watching and texting one another friend I had in my phone, and yes, he is my twin flame now. Back then I didn't even know what twin flame was, and so what universe did was, I knew this person in a certain way. I thought about him and I was certain about it in a certain way. Now, what happened within a millisecond was it completely changed how I knew him. This is like the setup. This is how the trigger works. I had met him online, but we were not even serious as friends, like we used to like text on and off, and we had like hung out 1 or 2 times. It had just been a month or something. He said that he had developed some feelings for me. Now, this was completely irrational, because he and I both knew we didn't know each other personally, and we were very different people, very different fundamental values, very different thinking, and he knew that. In spite of that, he had developed feelings. It just made no sense to me. It was very irrational for me. So anyways, back to texting. So it was like around 5 o'clock in the morning, where there were no birds chirping. It was quiet because of the REM cycles in your brain, which, like, even your mind is like trying to get to sleep, so it's not overworking. And everything was like very peaceful and calm. And at that time, he sent me a couple of pictures from one time we had hung out. Now, I had seen them many times, but as I was swiping, I felt like I saw something in one of the pictures. I had my eyes closed, and it kind of represented that I was unaware of the things around me. And the thing was that he was looking at me with very loving, innocent eyes. And I was like, oh my God, how could I have never seen this? I think he kind of has feelings for me. I think he likes me. And after that, I kept looking at it, zoomed it. I mean, it's weird to see from a picture, but after that, I went to my gallery, kept looking at that picture, and I looked at my other pictures. I looked dead. I looked like I was unaware of the situation, about the world. It was like as if, like, I never really questioned enough about myself. Like, I never thought I was that important to question about life or anything for myself. I was like an autopilot, and so were the other people in my phone, my family members, my sister. Everyone looked like they were like an autopilot. They just didn't know themselves. So it was weird. I felt like, you know what? I think I should just go back to sleep. I slept and I woke up like around 10 o'clock, and I was like fresh as a daisy. It was like that calm energy in me. And I guess, like, I went to take shower and I opened the tap, and the water was like so loud. And I guess that's why water has that kind of calming effect on us. It has like a very high frequency, and I felt so good, and it felt like everything was coming alive in the bathroom. And I think I went back to my room, and I look around and I look at my pencil, my bag, which is torn on the side. I've never noticed that. My bed, my everything. It feels like I've never really given a thought. I've never really thought about them. They have always been there for me. And the room and the building, the whole place felt like it was personally built for me, like that setup. I felt so happy and cared. And I think after that, I started thinking about what happened in the morning, and I felt like maybe the feeling would go away. But then I opened the picture and I look at it, and the feeling is still there. It's actually growing more in me. And I saw that we were like very close people. Like, we were like so close that we were mirrors of each other. I saw like a very blurred image of, I don't know what to say. It looked like astral bodies. I don't know what is that. But it just looked like light bodies, but in the shape of humans, and there was just light, and we were split apart. It looked kind of dirty, greenish, but it was glowing, and we were just split apart. We could understand each other so much. Again, we used to fight on every minute details. Now I could see that we could understand so well that he could take life decisions for me, and I knew that they would be all right. I knew that he knew me that well. It was so weird. I mean, now I don't know. I think it was like my heart chakra opening up or something, but the love was growing in me, and I knew it was like kind of unnatural for a human being to feel that way. It was so much, and I think I went to the road to get my lunch, and the love started growing up in me. I had to call him up, and I told him, this happened. You know me that well. We have loved each other through eternity. There has been no beginning, no end. I wasn't making these things up. I just didn't have any words to explain them. I mean, it was like that. It was like that. And I kept telling him, and that kept going on for an hour. And the feeling in me was growing so much. I felt like I couldn't contain in my body. It felt like thousands and thousands of volts of energy in me, but I kept pacing back and forth on one of the side street, and I kept telling him, I don't know how he must have perceived, as I really wanted him to listen to that. After an hour, the feeling in me, the energy in me kind of started subsiding, and I went back to normal. Now this was weird because I had just finished confessing it to him. I was very embarrassed, and I think after that I kind of hung up the call, and the feeling subsided in me, and another thing started feeling like it came, like it was like downloading in me. Like I started feeling like very loved and cared all around me. The polluted streets of Delhi, the nasty, the pollution, everything, like, you know, the kind of stranger feeling that you have with a stranger. I started feeling like everything felt like it was just love. Everything felt so soft, so calm. Like a flower garden all around me, like I would jump on it and it just never hurt me. It felt like that. And I think I went and stood on one side of the road, and I looked around, and I couldn't see anything. Like it went pitch black, and it's not like darkness, it was just space all around us. Except what I saw was, now there was a building across the street. I couldn't see the color. I think that is how this world is made. Like, I couldn't see the color. It was just pitch black, but I knew there was a building. Like, I knew it, but I couldn't see it. And the color was, there was like a golden color of light streaming and like glowing through the building and to the road, through another building, and there was a dog which I had not seen before that pitch black thing happened. But I knew that this was the dog, and I could see the golden color flowing through its feet and to the ground, and through the peak of people across the street, through another building. And I looked at my hands, and it was just like light flowing through me. Like, if you have ever seen like a fairy tale movie, yeah, it looks exactly like that. It was flowing through my hands, through my legs, to my feet, and to the ground. Everything was connected. And there was like this tree, which I had not noticed again, but I knew there was this tree. And the light was flowing exactly, if you have ever seen how water flows through a phloem xylem in a 3D virtual model. Like, you know, it just flows in up and like down. I don't know, it just looked like that. And it was like going through the trunk and down and like connected. I kept rubbing my eyes, and that kept going on for 15 to more than 20-25 seconds, and that's a very long time. I made sure to look around as much as possible, And I finally felt like, and I was like, finally let go, and like the colors came back in, everything went back to normal. Now there was this another conversation I just had, like I had it in my brain. There was no proper sentences, but it went something like with an understanding. It's like a knowing. It went something like this. It told me that this world was just love, and it was so much of love. And I said, no, it's not like that. It's nasty. There's so much of chaos. And it said, no, it's almost negligible. That is only here. It's almost not there. And I felt that feelings. When you have that kind of conversation, it's like a proper knowing. You have no doubts. Doubts are created when you talk through words. Like, I talk and you don't really completely get that image, and that creates the confusion. This is how this world is built. But when you know, it's like a complete knowing. There is no questioning. You just know it. It's like ultimate truth. So I guess after that, I didn't really have any questions, and after that, I felt really happy. So this is my actual spiritual experience. If you still want to listen, this is like the extended part. And after that, the weird thing is that I don't know how I must have connected to this whole story, linked it to a spiritual awakening, because I had never heard about it. And I didn't know whom to ask. And I think I asked around to my mom, my dad, and to my friends, the friend whom I had just bid farewell. It was very important to ask. No one had any idea, and my mom said it was some kind of religious blessing. It wasn't, but I was happy she was happy. I think I finally typed something into Google. Like, what can you type? Like seeing pitch black, feeling love. But I don't know how I must have linked it to spiritual awakening. Like, I must have been convinced it was just through Google. And that is like blocked out of my memory. I don't remember. If you ask me if I felt weirded out, no. It actually felt familiar. It felt home. It felt like, yeah. I think I've been in confusion all my life, and all the questions I have been asking for about who am I, what am I, it felt like I was finally getting some answers. It felt like I got a piece of that. It also felt like, like how you don't know so much about the world, and I felt like I got a little peek about it. And I was too curious. It's like you just had a taste of something, and when your spirit knows that, you will forget who you are. You'll forget you are a human. I had to know this. I researched like a crazy person, like all day and night. I usually never do anything like that for anything. So that was like my entire experience, and thank you so much for listening if you have listened this far. And I want you to comment down about your story, about your experience, because I'm planning to make a compilation of all the amazing stories, because you just will relate it, and listening to these stories kind of like completely energizes you. Like you feel like home, and it just kind of like refreshes you. So please comment about your stories, and I'll be making a compilation video in the future. And so see you in the next video. Bye.